Welcome back to the Vietnamese Ghost Stories channel. In the previous part of the story, a traditional opera performance in the village was interrupted by a sudden thunderstorm, causing the children to leave disappointed. On the way back, they had to cross a deserted, gloomy, and creepy cemetery in the middle of a cold night. Amidst the thick fog and howling winds, they suddenly encountered a ghost in white with a pale face, deadly eyes, and long hair covering half of his face. In panic, the group ran away, thinking they had just escaped the scythe of death. And now, please join us in part 2 of the story to discover the next developments, when the truth gradually revealed, but also when the ghostly mysteries began to truly appear. The knocking sound rang out, getting more and more urgent, as if it wanted to break into pieces. Who was standing in front of the door, a human or a ghost? Half of me was curious to explore, half of me was scared, terrified of ghosts and demons. I didn't know what to do in this situation. My heart felt like it was about to break into pieces. Drops of sweat from mother and child soaked my back and shoulders. All my muscles and nerves were tense like a balloon about to explode. I quickly grabbed the blanket and wrapped it around my whole body, sitting curled up in the corner of the bed. My hands and feet were trembling, and my mind was hazily remembering the ghostly, terrifying face at the bottom of the well. After a while, the knocking sound gradually faded, but the goosebumps increased from my limbs to my head. Tonight was truly terrifying. Like every night, mist fell from Dai Mountain. The dark, silent space was covered by a blanket of white mist. Looking out the window, I could see nothing but a thick white mist. Now, even though there were hundreds of dangers lurking ahead, I couldn't detect them to fight back and survive. Suddenly, realizing that the knocking sound was gone, I quickly threw the blanket off my body and ran quickly to my grandfather's altar, lifted the incense stand, and took out a string that my grandmother had been given by a monk in the temple. Then I fumbled and hurriedly went down to the kitchen to find a few more candles to light until my father, mother, and second sister returned. Normally, I could only light one candle because the price of candles was very expensive. But now I didn't care about that anymore. The important thing right now was to dispel the mysterious dark energy in this house at all costs. As soon as I lit the 2 candles on the table, I immediately ran to the corner of the bed, gathered all the blankets and pillows, and sat curled up in there. My mouth kept muttering the phrase, Namo Amitabha Buddha. I pray to God to bless me with a safe life tonight. I thank you. Suddenly, the chanting of prayers for the dead at Ms. Nam Hong's house stopped, followed by a mournful, heart-rending cry, making the night even more terrifying and ghostly. The wind continued to rise. The leaves on the mango tree continued to fly with the wind, rubbing against the roof, creating a squeaking, rustling sound as if 2 hands were desperately clawing, trying to get into the house. The rain, drop by drop, fell, making the air even colder and more depressing. I suddenly remembered that I had not locked the window yet. As for the wind, it continued to blow, making it bang against each other, opening and closing again and again. Now, no matter how much gold, silver, or precious stones I had, I wouldn't dare go near that window. Each beat of my heart sounded like it was about to tear my lungs apart. My teeth were hitting each other with an unconscious clack-clack sound. Now I only wish that my parents would come back soon. I don't need anything else. I don't want another moment of loneliness in this house. From childhood to adulthood, I have never been home alone so late at night. I started to remember and cry, then blame myself. If only I hadn't taken them to that cemetery that night, hadn't gone near that well, then this wouldn't have happened. If only... The hiccups made me unable to speak. Tears fell onto my fingers. My eyes gradually blurred. Maybe now they were red. I continued to ask myself, should I tell everyone the truth about that night? Should I confess my sins? It was so awkward. Now I could only silently stare at the window and silently count each time it banged in and out. 1 out, 2 in, 3 out, 4 in, until the 7th one. In a flash of a few seconds, a thin woman with long black hair that fell to her shoulders appeared in front of the window. She stared into the house. The fog became thicker and thicker, obscuring everything except her head. I wanted to scream out loud, but couldn't. My teeth were clenched tightly, and I couldn't open them. My throat, why was it so stiff? And my limbs were so limp that I had no strength to resist. Could it be that I would end up like those 2 guys? Would I die? Would I be the next to give my life to that ghost? I could only silently look at it and hide in the dark corner, praying to God that it wouldn't see. Suddenly, it put a skinny arm inside, then hit the wall with a loud pop. The sound seemed to have exploded the fear inside me. I burst into tears and screamed loudly, clasping my hands together and begging, "No, please spare my life. I will never come back here again. I promise to make an offering to atone for my sins. Please spare me." As soon as I finished praying, a loud laugh suddenly came from that woman. She shook her head and said loudly, "Hey, Nam, are you crazy? What are you shouting about? Who ate meat or fish and you're shouting? My son Phao has a high fever. I called the priest to treat him, but he ran out of candles, so I went to your house to ask for one. Tomorrow I will pay your mother back." In a moment, I quickly came back to my senses, quickly wiped the sweat from my forehead, the tears from my eyelashes. I looked closely at her face. It turned out to be Miss Hai Hong from next door, but I thought, sighing with relief, I ran back to open the door and invited her in, then quickly went to the kitchen to get the candle. She accepted it and thanked me, saying she would come back tomorrow to pay. As soon as her shadow disappeared, the remaining 3 people in the house also returned, followed by the other households in the village. I was so happy, as if I hadn't seen them for a long time. I quickly ran towards my mother. I hugged her tightly, buried my head in her chest, feeling the warmth that I had been waiting for all this time. She suddenly said, "I didn't buy any cakes or fruits for you. Why did you run over to hug me? It's lucky that I didn't beat you for running away, my child. Come on, go home and sleep early. Tomorrow you have to help your second sister clean the house." I quickly replied with unspeakable joy, "Just having our family together like this makes me happy. I don't need any cake or fruit. And don't make me stay home alone like this anymore. I'm scared." She smiled and gently replied, "Yeah, if I hadn't been naughty or mischievous, I wouldn't have punished you. But this year the troop has performed so little. After less than 3 days, they've gone somewhere else. So boring." After a long sigh, she continued, "Come in, or you'll get sick and it'll be miserable." It was really lucky. That threat seemed to be completely wrong. Maybe everything was over, safe. But the truth was not like that. This was just the beginning of a series of ghostly, strange, mysterious phenomena taking place in this wooden house. The sun has risen. The bamboo in front of the door sways. The rooster crows. People laugh and talk. Everything is peaceful. But in my heart, it is completely opposite to the outside world, still wondering and worrying about last night. Maybe that is the luck that God has given me. The warning from the 2 brothers still makes me scared and restless. I don't know when it will really appear, but if it does, what should I do? It's so tiring. I still hope that night never happened. The old saying is true, 3 years of wisdom, 1 hour of foolishness. Just thinking for a moment, my stomach started to make a long rumbling sound. Maybe I need to go to the kitchen. I had only eaten a few spoonfuls of porridge when suddenly, from behind my sister's house, a loud voice shouted, "Nam, come out here and see this." "Did you do it? Come out here quickly." I ran out in a panic, not knowing what the hell was going on. "What's wrong, big sister?" I just woke up. I was eating porridge when you suddenly called me and I ran down here in a panic, she said in a harsh voice. Look at this. The water my father carried from the river home with so much difficulty, but now there's only half a jar left. How could it be enough for this week? And the water scoop was broken into pieces. After a pause, she continued. Last night you were home alone. If you didn't cause trouble, who did? Suddenly being blamed, I was so angry that I raised my voice and said, You have to have evidence. If I caused trouble, my clothes would have gotten wet, and it was so cold last night, I'm not stupid enough to come out here and destroy the water. I also know that my father worked so hard to have water for us to use, so I didn't dare destroy it. She was still angry. If you didn't do it, who did? Is it me who did it, or you blame the ghost, the demon, for doing it? Hearing my sister mention ghosts, I suddenly shivered and waved my hand. Okay, go ask your mother. I don't know anything. I also want to remind you that this is not my doing. Suddenly, from the front of the house, my mother shouted, Where is Nam? Where is Hai? Come out and help me carry the bunch of vegetables and the chicken to the back of the house. As soon as my sister heard this, she quickly ran out and asked my mother, Mom, there is only half a cup of water left in the jar. I asked Nam, but he said he didn't know. And Mom, did you use the water last night? She held her hat and fanned herself while saying, What are you talking about? I didn't use any last night. As soon as I got home, your father and I went to bed and slept until morning. We didn't go to the back of the house to use it. This bad girl, my sister continued. Then why did the water disappear? Did it evaporate? Or the devil did it? Mom sat down on the ground and shook her head. None of us knew who had lost the water in that jar. The day soon ended. Unlike every night before when I had just finished dinner, I would run away to play. But since that incident, all the children in the village were not allowed to go out at night anymore. Night had come. The moon was not shining, the stars were sparse in the sky, and the dark clouds were thick in clusters. My father was sitting on the bed, just finished smoking a cigarette, and said, It's late now, everyone go to sleep. My house doesn't have any rooms, it's just divided into 2 houses. My parents slept in the front house, opposite that night's window. My sister and I slept in the back house, each on a bed. As soon as I lay down, I covered myself with a blanket, leaving only my head exposed. My sister still didn't believe what I said. She said, If I see you again tomorrow, I will tell on your mother. I will make you remember it for the rest of your life. After saying that, she lit the oil lamp. Now the whole house only had this lamp as the only light. If it went out, it would be like that night road. I was in a daze, about to fall into a dream, when the lamp suddenly went out. My sister immediately stepped down, approached the table, and lit the fire again. Then she looked at me and said, Why is it so strange? The door was closed and you were lying on the bed. So why did it go out? I looked at her and shook my head and said, I don't know. As soon as I finished speaking, it went out again. I threw the blanket away and ran back to her bed and hid behind her. Neither of us knew what was going on. While I was thinking vaguely, my sister lit another candle and looked around the lamp to see if it was damaged or if it had run out of oil. But the more I looked, the more confused I became. I couldn't see anything different. Then she lit it again. From this time on, the lamp never went out again. It was normal as usual. She told me to go to the other bed to lie down. Here the 2 of us were lying tight and still hot. I hurriedly ran to the other side of the bed, curled up in the blanket, unable to stop trembling. I wondered if it had come, and maybe it was lying in bed with me. Sweat started pouring again. I held my breath and quickly wiped my forehead. Suddenly, there was a startling sound of broken dishes in the kitchen. Then pots fell down with a bang. My parents woke up and ran down to the kitchen to see. My sister and I also shyly followed behind. When we got to the kitchen, my mother took the oil lamp and shined it all around, but couldn't see anyone or anything. There were only broken pieces of bowls and cold rice scattered everywhere on the ground, and the pots were upside down. She was furious. "Damn it, it's almost Tet, but these evil rats are making too much trouble. How dare they cook anything?" As soon as my mother finished speaking, my father raised his voice and said, "I don't think it's because of rats. You and the kids look, the rice grains are crushed, as if someone stepped on them. There are even handprints on them." My mother immediately brought the lamp down to shine on them. She was startled. "It's really strange. It looks like a human foot. Could it be a thief broke into the house?" My mother turned to look at my sister and me, then said, "Did those bad guys eat it or not? Tell your parents the truth." My sister immediately said, "No, Mom. We've been lying on the bed the whole time, not daring to go anywhere. But it was strange just now. The lamp in my mother's hand. It suddenly turned off by itself. I looked carefully, but didn't see anything strange." My father suddenly yawned and said, "Let's go to sleep. We'll figure it out tomorrow morning." So everyone went to bed. My mother closed the kitchen door and put the key in her pocket. The night had given way to the sun, each ray of sunlight shining through the window crack directly onto my face. While still in a daze, I opened my eyes and looked up at the ceiling. Suddenly, a blurry image appeared. I rubbed my eyes and looked closely. It was a picture. I focused and looked closely again. To be more precise, it was a well. It was the well of that fateful night. I immediately used all my strength to shout, "Everyone, save me! Everyone immediately ran to my bed. My mother hugged me, reassuringly asking, "What's wrong? Why are you screaming so loudly? Mom and Dad are here. Don't be scared." I mumbled, "Mom, look! Look! On the ceiling." Following my words, everyone looked up at the ceiling, their eyes wide in surprise. My sister screamed in panic. "When did that drawing come from? Who drew it at such a height? Who did this?" At this point, I could no longer bear these strange events, and had to tell everyone the whole story of that night. As soon as I finished telling it, my father angrily shouted, "I don't believe in ghosts. This can only be done by humans. I've lived for 40 years and haven't met one, let alone you." As for my mother and second sister, they were completely opposite to my father. They both believed what I said. My mother emotionally recounted the incident that happened when my sister was only 10 years old. That year, my father and I were invited by distant relatives to attend a memorial service. It took a day and a night to get there, so only my mother and second sister were home alone. Then suddenly my sister had a fever. Mom had to carry your sister and run to the witch doctor's house. The road was just like you said, dark and foggy. She pursed her lips, sighed, and continued. The road to get there had to pass that cemetery. Mom was exhausted from running there, so she had to walk slowly. Suddenly, on that well, a girl in white with long black hair sat on the edge of the well, crying out in mournful, terrifying cries. Mom saw that, panicked, hugged your sister, and ran away, not daring to look back. She didn't dare to go home until morning. I was shocked and asked, "What should we do now, Mom? I don't want to die yet." Mom comforted me and said, "Don't worry, I will protect you at all costs. We will go see Grandma. She has lived here for many years, so she can probably help you." I listened to my mom, ran straight to her field, then told her everything from beginning to end. After hearing the story, she sighed, looking tired, and clicked her tongue. She said, "The day you asked about the well, I suspected that something bad was going to happen. And indeed, it was true. Don't worry too much. I know an old friend who is a shaman. He is very good. He will definitely be able to resolve this disaster." At noon, suddenly, an old man with white hair and beard, a slim figure, a hunched back, and a rather large bag appeared. He was probably about my grandmother's age. As soon as he saw me, he went straight to the main point. "Are you Nam? I have heard the whole story from my relatives. If it is true that it is a demon causing trouble, then this one is probably very ferocious. But with 30 years of practicing shamanism, having punished and encountered countless evil spirits, I think it is not too difficult." Just after sipping a cup of tea, he glared again and said in a harsh voice, "I can feel the negative energy in your house. It is very dense. If we don't act quickly, the consequences will be unpredictable." I bowed my head and said, "Then tonight is okay, teacher." He quickly replied, "Definitely tonight. Me, you, my sister, and mother. We will go to that well together." The darkness covered this place again. The moon tonight was unusually bright. As soon as we finished dinner, my mother, sister, and I, along with the shaman, set out for the cemetery. As soon as we set foot on that path, the ghostly, deadly feeling from that day returned, but now it was even more terrifying than before. Every thorn bush, and hiding place of the two brothers was still there, and even the bamboo bush where they were locked up. Finally, we had arrived. Because the teacher came here in the morning to visit, the entrance and exit were very clear. He led us to a nearby bamboo grove. Under that large bamboo grove, there was a small cave leading to the inside of the tomb. The four of us slowly crawled through one by one. And now the ceremony had truly begun. He put down his bag, which contained many things. First, he lit 3 incense sticks and stuck them deep into the ground. Next, he took a bowl full of dog blood and poured it into a jar of rice wine, then used his whole hand to mix it evenly. As soon as he finished, he reached into his pocket and took out 2 bamboo leaves and dipped them into the mixture. Then, he turned to us and told us to quickly stand in a group, then bent down to pick up a branch, drew a circle, and silently chanted a spell. He stared and said, "This is a magic ring. I will cast a magic spell on it. The demons will not be able to harm you unless you automatically escape from the circle. The consequences will be terrible." The warning ended. The ritual continued. He reached into his bag, took out a bag of rice mixed with salt. Then he took the wine bottle from earlier, poured it around the mouth of the well. Then he sprinkled rice and salt around the wine he had just poured. Then he took 3 steps back, took out the 3 incense sticks he had just inserted, raised them high to the sky, and loudly recited the terrifying spells. I bow to take refuge in the Sudatu. I bow to the 7-pointedness. I now praise the great Junti. I pray for your compassion and protection. Namo Tat Danam. Tam Miao Tam. Boda Chou Chu Nam Dat Ta. An Chitle Chule Chundatabaha. After reciting, he approached us, speaking in a terrifying voice. "Quickly take these 2 leaves and place them on your eyes. Let the water soak into your 2 pupils. Then you will soon see things that you rarely see." Obeying him, the 3 of us took turns putting the 2 bamboo leaves on our eyes, then closed our eyes and waited until he finished the ritual before opening them. He shouted loudly, "O soldiers, ghosts, quickly show your form. Come up here so I can quickly see your face." As soon as I heard him call the ghosts up, I was so scared that I cried. My nerves were now as tense as a string that could easily break at any moment. Now I wanted to die so that I would not have to endure this ghostly atmosphere. The wind, it was it again. It was the deadly wind that rose up in this place. Sand and dust began to fly up, each grain getting caught in my hair. The son and mango trees swayed violently in the wind. The bamboo rows made a creaking sound that was miserable and mournful. The wind grew stronger and stronger, as if a storm was about to come and sweep everything away. The 3 of us now could only hug each other and comfort ourselves. He started shouting loudly, "The time has come. You guys quickly open your eyes and see." Following his words, we immediately opened our eyes. Before I could open them, my sister and mother shouted loudly, "Oh my God! Ghosts, ghosts!" So scary, teacher. Just hearing that made me almost pee my pants. Now opening my eyes, I don't know what will happen. In the end, I couldn't resist my curiosity. My eyes slowly started to open. This wine was really effective. Before my eyes, there were hundreds of ghosts and vengeful souls. Some were sitting on the mango tree, some were hanging, their hair swaying in the wind. Some were walking around their graves, some were far away into the mist out there. None of them had their bodies intact. Some had lost their heads, some had lost their legs and arms. Before I could recover, he shouted again. "Hey, evil female ghost. You have been living at the bottom of this well for a long time. Come out here and let me see your face. If not, don't blame me for your soul being scattered and unable to reincarnate." Quickly, the surrounding ghosts seemed to have heard his threat. They all hid in their graves. Some others flew into the distant bamboo grove. At that time, from that well began to emit terrifying, ghostly screams. Following that cry, a woman emerged from the well. Her hands were in front of her, holding on to the well's edge, and her body was soaked. And then it was the same face, still the same. The cold, sad, and resentful feeling rose again. She had climbed out of the well without any hesitation. The shaman began his interrogation. "Are you the ghost that haunted this boy's house?" She did not say anything. Then she suddenly walked around the well and sat down on it. The shaman shouted loudly again. "Is that right?" She began to lift her strange face. Then she answered as quick as lightning. "Yes," he asked again. "Why did you haunt this boy and then you killed 2 other children? Your crime deserves to be beaten until your soul is scattered." She stepped down and said, "I am just the one who caused the strange phenomena in the house, that boy. As for those 2 people, they were killed by someone else." The shaman sneered and said firmly, "I have defeated many ghosts and demons. Each one said that it was innocent and blamed others. So, I don't believe it." The female ghost knelt down on the ground and clasped her hands and begged sincerely, "No, please believe me. I caused many things in that boy's house just to attract attention. I hope he will come here and help me with this. As for the other 2 people, I know exactly who the culprit is." She put her face on the ground and continued, "And he was the one who killed me in the past. He was the one who made my soul unable to rest and always linger here." He said in surprise, "What do you mean by that? 2 lives were caused by someone else? I don't believe it. Do you have any evidence to prove your words?" She quickly replied, "Yes, sir. A piece of his left ear was bitten off by me years ago." While the teacher was confused, my mother suddenly interrupted, telling the shaman, "Yes, sir, it's exactly as she said. In this whole village, there is only one person who suffered like that. That is the village chief Nam Gu." The shaman asked curiously, "Can you tell me the whole story?" She immediately nodded in agreement. "The story is like this, sir. 30 years ago, I was a servant in his house. At that time, I was the most beautiful in the village. All the boys in the village and outside the village confessed their love to me, but I didn't like any of them. Then, on that fateful moonlit night, he raped me. I got pregnant, and the fetus grew bigger and bigger. Finally, my parents found out and kicked me out. Then they said, 'Wherever you die, don't let me see you again, or I'll shave your head and let you float down the river. You evil bitch, you're so bad.' I was so scared that I ran to his house. He immediately dragged me into the room and closed the door. He took out a shiny knife from his hand and said, 'You must die. If you let this news leak out, I'll be in jail. You must die, my child.' He chased me all over the room. Because it was dark, I couldn't see and I tripped. He jumped down and stabbed me in the stomach. I only had time to bite one of his ears. Then he tied my body to a rock and sank it into the bottom of the well. A A few weeks later, he came back with another fierce-looking shaman, and he risked his life diving into the well to retrieve my bones. The other shaman put me in a jar and then cast a spell, causing me to stay here until now without being able to reincarnate. Please help me, Master. After finishing the story, she continued to cry. She looked no different from a normal person. As for him, he was confused and didn't know what to do, because Mr. Namgu was famous for being a gentle person, living a decent life, often going to the temple to help the poor. How could he be a murderer who took 3 lives? He was half believing and half doubting, then said, "Okay, I will help you investigate. If it's correct, I will report to the authorities to arrest him. If it's wrong, don't blame me for being so cruel." She shouted, "Yes, yes, Master, I will guarantee it with my life. Please arrest the murderer and help me be liberated." We all went home with deep anxiety. The teacher continued, "What should we do now? How can we catch him?" It happened 30 years ago, and it was just the words of a ghost. I also made a promise to him. How miserable. Suddenly a plan appeared in my head, which I was sure would succeed. I happily told the teacher, "Teacher, I already have a way. As long as we are meticulous and careful, everything will be clear." The teacher nodded and replied, "Yes, I will follow you on this matter." The story ends here, and we will see you again in part 3 of the story, at the bottom of an abandoned well. Thank you everyone for listening to Vietnamese ghost stories. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next interesting ghost stories. Wish you a peaceful night, if possible. See you again.